The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests.
What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast. This is episode number 356. For the record, today's date is Tuesday, September 17th, 2024. We are live, as always, streaming over on YouTube to over 150 countries worldwide. If you're out there in the live chat, go ahead and say something. We don't know that you're out there unless you do. If you're watching this in replay or listening to it in podcast form, welcome to the dark side. We honestly, we just hope not to make you any dumber, but we definitely aren't going to make you any smarter. But we do invite you to come join the live crew, the Ghost Mafia, if you will, every Tuesday night at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, live on the YouTube channel. A lot of great people out here, great conversation, a lot of cool people. If you're interested in meeting new people in the gun nut world, they're here. So come on over and enjoy that. If you want to text into the show, yes, you can text into the show. Utilize the Ghost Tactical Hotline presented by our good friends over at Wilder Tactical. That number is 530-364-4678. And go check out wildertactical.com. If you're a gear junkie like I am, they got it all. Some of the best stuff out there. They definitely probably have the best battle belt, war belt, duty belt, whatever you want to call it. They've got the best one out there, hands down. But they've got all sorts of gear. Like I said, if you're a gear junkie, come on over and check them out. Let them know Ghost sent you. If you are a veteran, really anybody, but especially if you're a veteran and you're in that hole, you're in the darkness and you're looking for that light, call me, text me, email me 24/7. I cannot give you any medical advice, but I might be able to someone to help you. I'm gonna steal this line from now on. I'm gonna help you talk you through the dark, right? It's a great line. But if you are looking for someone that can get you towards some medical attention, remember two things. One, you are not alone in this world. You have a lot of brothers out here that are willing and able to help you in any way possible. And two, the world is a much better place with you in it. So please utilize the Veteran Crisis Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. We are spotlighting, as always, United States Marine Corps. If you have any questions on what it takes to earn the title of United States Marine, see the website marines.com. And as always, we're proud members of the Self-Defense Radio Network and the Firearms Radio Network. Check out all your favorite pro-gun, pro-2A podcasts over at selfdefenseradio.net and firearmsradio.net. Let's get this off of my ugly mug and say what up to the merry band of morons this week from geez, here we go. Okay, are you guys finished? If you finished yet?
Done, sir.
Wow. Okay. Wow. From Anderson Manufacturing. What's up, Kyle? How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Trey. How are you?
I am living the nightmare, man. Living the nightmare.
Happy
you guys been busy, huh?
Oh yeah, definitely been busy. You won't hear me complaining though. So
I hear you. Yeah, I know you got some stuff I can't really talk about yet, but got some new stuff coming down the line. I won't go too far, so I'll let you go as far as you're allowed to go.
I'll just say big things coming in October. So
there you go.
We'll leave it at that. The end of this month, I'm actually heading down towards you in Clover's neck of the woods.
I'm sorry.
Doing an event with GOA and then Texas Valor Project. So
nice.
Looking forward to that. That's next week. So
next week is TriggerCon as well, is it not, John? I want to say next. Is it next week or the week after?
Next. Yes, it's next week.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's one we definitely got on the list, on the radar for next year, getting in
it's a cool show. I went last year. I didn't go the first year. I can't go this year. I've got stuff I've got to do next week. But I went last year. It's up in Kansas, up in Wichita. And I went to it, and this is not a despairing comment or anything. I'm not trying to. I went in there with very little expectations. I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know much about it. I'd heard some horror stories of the previous year about different things. I said, let's go. Keep an open mind. And I had one of the best times. It was a small enough show where you could walk the show in like an hour, honestly. But that was also great because you had a couple days that you could really have some great conversations with different companies, and the public was there and all of that. And then the range day, aside from a couple small hiccups that weren't their fault, really, it was probably the best range day that I was at last year. I really enjoyed it. So I'm really upset that I can't go this year. Work calls and all that, but it's a great one. I think it's something that I think you guys would do quite well at next year. So that would be something you think about. I don't know, scheduling and all of that stuff. I get there's so many places that you can be at once, but that could be an interesting place to go to if you're looking for adding another one. I know it kind of knocks up against another show, another event this year. So
but I mean, we're getting decent at multitasking, because I mean, next week I'll be in Texas, but Jeremy and Chris will be further south in Texas.
Yeah.
I think it's Dilley, Texas, doing the primary arms first responders range day.
Oh, so interesting. I didn't know they had a first responders range. That's pretty cool. Good job.
Yeah, it's exclusive to first responders, but if anybody out there listening is in the South Texas and you want to get out there, just reach out Primary Arms and they'll get you all the info. So
there you go. That's good stuff. Standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, such a fine sight to see. It's a Ginger, my lord, and a flatbed Ford from the Gun Owners of America and Fully Loaded Reviews. We have John, the Ginger Soulless Bastard. What's up, homie?
What's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody?
What's up, YouTube? What's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm doing good. You doing good? I'm doing good. You doing good? I'm doing good. Shout out to Chicago Mike, wherever the hell you are driving right now. I hope he's not dead. He's a Swift driver. He might be dead. I don't know.
He may be. Who knows?
No telling. I haven't seen him for a while. So.
Yeah. I'm doing good.
Yeah, you doing all right?
Super excited. Yeah, super excited. We got our first gun broker auction up for GOA, and it is the gun from 310 to Yuma.
Nice.
The holy roller. It's the gun from the movie. So we're super excited about I got up. So if you want to bid on a piece of movie memorabilia, it is live on Gunbroker. Go check that out. I spent last week on Thursday running from a forest fire. That was fun.
Obviously, you made it. So that's good.
Yeah,
gingers are fast. They say. I hear they're fast. I don't know.
So there was a wildfire up in Tonto National Forest. We went up there because they're like, "Oh, we've got it contained, so everything's open." We got all the way to Tortilla Flats, which is like an hour from civilization. It's a small little 6-person town in Tonto National Forest. It's one of the last stagecoach towns that are still available to go check out. Drove past that, went up to this little scenic overlook on the Apache Trail just to get to the top of it and get turned around by Maricopa County Sheriffs. And then they were like, "You got to go back," because they were evacuating everybody.
Oh, okay.
So we turned around, went back down the mountain, went back through Tortilla Flats, got all the way back to Canyon Lake. And as we were turning the corner around Canyon Lake, we could see the fire coming over the ridge and all the smoke. And we got out of there pretty quickly. And then we hung around. There's a small little touristy trap called Goldfield Mine that's right outside of the National Forest. And we hung around and watched the helicopters and everybody come through for a little bit and then drove back into town.
Everyone's safe. I guess they have that fire contained at this point.
It is now contained. It burnt 24,000 acres.
Oh wow!
And was getting bit. I had to call Big Kid's parents live right by it, so I called Big Kid and was like, "Hey, everyone's safe." I said, "Hey, do your parents need anything? Like, I'll drive over with the truck. We'll grab as much as we can, and they can hang out at my place if they need to." And they were good. So
okay, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. What's going on at Fully Loaded Reviews? Anything going on?
Well, we launched our video on the Boundary a week ago ish. So that video is taken off. We've made our first YouTube money.
That was a short video for you, like 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Yeah. We've officially made our first YouTube money, all 2 cents.
Woohoo! Baby.
Penny each. No,
but that's before taxes, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get like half a cent, So the channel's going good. We've got a video. I think our next video planned is on the AREX Delta. And finally getting that video out, and we'll have that out and a couple more videos to come. And I showed you guys before the show some stuff I got in for review. Plus, I just got the new, or not new-ish, I guess, T-Sauce double stack. So I'm excited to try that out. And I have a secret project coming up too. That was a November launch, so keep an eye on for that. Ooh. Also, Kyle, October launch, August was like a month ago. You couldn't have saved it like a little early.
I'm sorry.
Come on.
That sounds real sincere. I'm sorry.
I do apologize.
I mean, hold on, this is October. We said August 24. Is this the Pony Express? Are we finally getting our Pony Express?
Cat's out the bag. Gosh darn it, John.
You weren't supposed to say anything, John.
You've heard it here first. Well,
it's like Kyle fired, but
we haven't been talking about it for what? 10 months. It took 2 years.
It's all good.
Gingers ruin everything. It's crazy.
That's why they're soulless, man. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care about anybody but themselves.
They don't even care about playoff games.
Not one bit.
We talking about playoffs? Playoffs. We're talking about the playoffs. It's practice, man. We're talking about practice.
We talking about practice, man. Not a game. We're talking about practice. Still the greatest sports interview ever. Oh, that's so good. Before we get going, guys, we do invite you guys to check out our website. It's kind of pinned up top, grapecrayons.com. We've got some new stuff in the store, some new designs out there. It's up 223. Got some new designs up there in the store, so go to grapecrayons.com and check out the cool stuff over there. It's pinned up there in the chat. You guys know that every Thursday, Saturday, and Monday, we have our pony polls over at the YouTube community tab. Let's go check out and see what we did last week. First one, real simple. It's yes or no. It's a yes or no question. Could you pass a polygraph test? Kyle, do you think you could pass a polygraph test?
Depends on what you're asking me, Gus.
That's a fair question.
I'd give her hell. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I have a feeling that there's tricks. There's tricks. How do I put this? I went through some enhanced interrogation training, and there are ways that you can do things that could probably work on a polygraph. Just saying. Yeah. John, what about you? Gingers can fool anybody for anything, so obviously gingers can pass a polygraph.
It's about the 50-50. So sometimes maybe yes, sometimes maybe no.
What is that?
Jacob? Yeah, I don't know what that was. I was letting it go because I was like,
he just went ginger Italian on us.
Is that what that was? I couldn't tell if that was Irish or Italian or like gypsy or what. I didn't know what the hell that was.
Or Mario.
Ooh, Artex says it's a soul test. Well, if that's the case,
I'm screwed then.
Yeah. Jacob says, very much depends on the questions, but I doubt it because I'm about to be very nervous. Nervous? It might help you. Depends on the thing. G23 is depending upon the questions. He thinks he can. This is a close one. 52% is 52 to 48. Maybe one of our closest, if not the closest vote we've ever had. But 52% say they could pass. 48%. There ain't no way in hell. No way in hell I'm passing that. But I thought that was interesting. 52% are fairly confident that they could pass a polygraph test. Our next one. All right, this is a fun one. So the reason why I put this one up is starting here pretty soon. Most of like the state fairs and all of that are going to be starting up all over the country. And so I put, what's the best carnival / like state fair food or drink, right? So your choices of these, obviously, a foot-long corn dog, fried Oreos, funnel cake, or the infamous turkey leg. All of these are phenomenal. Ginger, of those four, which one's the best?
This one was hard.
It is hard, yeah.
I really like deep fried Oreos, but I'm a big funnel cake guy, so I gotta go funnel cake. It's always go for the funnel cake.
Always go for the funnel cake. I mean, there's not a wrong choice. Let's hear your answers out there in the chat as well. There's not a wrong answer. I really don't think so. I remember growing up, obviously in Dallas, we had the Texas State Fair, which is the biggest one out there. And the first time you have fried Oreos, right? Like you're like, wow. Obviously, corn dog, funnel cake, staple. Don't sleep on the turkey leg, folks. If you've never had a turkey leg, we're talking the big turkey leg at a state fair, don't sleep on that. It's pretty damn good. Kyle, what about you? Of those four, you got to choose one. Which one are you going with?
I don't even think it's a competition here, guys.
Okay. All right.
Funnel cake. The funnel cake is an absolute staple. I think if you ask people what the first thought of a fair is, a lot of people are going to answer funnel cake.
I remember, ironically, the first time I ever saw a funnel cake was at a state fair, right? I mean,
yeah. Now, I am a huge fan of the turkey legs.
Yeah, it's so good.
But I've had a bad one. I've had one.
Oh, have you really? I have yet to have a bad one.
You can get them where they're just so dry. It's not even enjoyable.
That's the problem with turkey in general, though, is there's a fine line between being really, really amazing and dry.
Exactly. So that helped me in this decision process, but I don't think it's even a competition. When you really look at it, I think funnel cake just is a sweep, dude.
Funnel cakes are definitely getting a lot of love out there. 223 says, don't forget about the big fried bloomin' onion. I love bloomin' onions, but I don't remember ever seeing them at a state fair, but I might be wrong. I see them at Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Jacob says that corn dogs hit a little bit different at a carnival. That's the thing. So I love corn dogs in general, but if there is something different about a state fair corn dog, I don't know. What were you going to say, Kyle?
I was going to say you can find fried anything, so I would not doubt the blooming onions being there, because
the first time I ever had fried pickles was as a kid at a state fair, and I love fried pickles. Matter of fact, in Dallas, Kyle, those fried pickles we had at that one restaurant were pretty banging right there.
Absolute fire. The best I've ever had.
They were the best thing at that restaurant, I think.
I agree. Well, the potato salad, remember?
Ooh, the potato salad was good, but I don't think it was as good as the fried pickles were damn good.
Wait, was it pasta salad? It was pasta salad.
It was pasta salad, yeah. The cold pasta salad was pretty good. And I'm not usually a big pasta salad guy, but it was good. 223 says we have the onions at his state fair. Artec. Oh, you're going to say this?
Yeah, is that where all the cats and dogs were?
I'm not sure if I'm ever going to eat another corn dog again. I'm just saying. It's literally a corn dog,
Hey, Also, next week's
Yeah.
poll should be best state fair drink, because that lemonade at the state fair just hits different.
It really does.
It
You
does.
ain't lying.
It's especially if they have the frozen lemonade.
Oh yeah.
So good. Foxtrot says they have bison burgers at the fair. Never had a bison burger.
Yeah.
Jacobs, I think last year someone had deep fried crickets. It
Wow.
wouldn't surprise me. Like, I mean, like you said, it's the state fair. They have like awards for the craziest fried food. You know, it's now fried pickle chips or spears. I like both, but I like the chips personally. If I had a choice, I'd rather go because it's easier to eat. You just pop them in, dip them in ranch, pop them in. I like pickles in general, so I don't care. But if I had the choice, if I had two of them sitting next in front of me, I'd probably picking the chips. That's just me.
True fat ass perspective right here. The spear, I always wind up pulling the whole skin off, and then it's like,
that's true. That's true too.
There went the seasoning.
Jacob says, just so you guys know, I've never been. Well, how the hell are you talking about state fair food if you've never been to the state fair, homie? Come on.
On the bison burger thing, though, Kentucky State Fair does that too. Bison burgers are great.
I've never had bison. I've heard it's pretty lean from what I understand, right?
Yeah, it's really good though.
Yeah. G23 says, you've been overseas. You don't think you've ever eaten a dog? I'm pretty picky when I eat things.
I probably have.
I might have. I hope not. If I have, I don't want to know.
I'm the same.
You know. Let's see here. State Fair lemonade. Artax says State Fair lemonade is made with liberal tear. That's why it tastes so good. Wow. Jacob says our local fair that 250,000 people that visit it at a minimum with a half pot crossing 2 million.
Damn.
Wow. That's a big fair. I didn't know that many people lived in Indiana. Honestly, I didn't think there was 2 million people in the whole state of Indiana. Maybe they come from other places. I don't know. Over 1,000 votes. It kind of was a runaway, Kyle. Funnel cake gets 54% of the vote. The foot-long corn dog comes in second place with 18%. The turkey leg at 17%, and the fried Oreos at 11%. I'm actually kind of pleasantly surprised. I figured the turkey leg would by far get the least amount of votes because a lot of people don't like turkey. But Oreos only got 11%. I was kind of surprised about that. So
I bet if you asked best Renaissance Festival food, turkey leg would take it. It was just a vibe.
That's I've never been to a Renaissance fair, but that would be an interesting place to go to. I've heard they're actually kind of cool.
It is a very interesting place to go to. And yeah, very cool. I almost got to the point where I thought about dressing up one year, but I didn't.
Oh, snap.
I'd make a good ogre, you know?
You.
No, Kyle, you'd make a good Highlander. Just shirt off, face paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I don't even know if there's any. I mean, in Arkansas, probably not. But I've heard they're pretty cool. I've never been to one, but
they're awesome.
Yeah. G23 is a deep fried butter. Deep fried butter. I've never had deep fried butter, but I bet you that'd be kind of amazing too. Might give you a heart attack, but yeah.
It's pretty freaking good.
Pat says, isn't fried Oreos more of a South and Midwest thing? I don't know. I mean, I've always grown. Once again, I grew up in Dallas. So like that's all I knew was like fried everything at state fairs, especially Oreos, you know. So I don't know. Like maybe it's not like a northern or a western or I don't know. I mean, Ohio, like deep fried Oreos, is that a thing?
Yeah, we had deep fried Oreos, deep fried Butterfingers, deep fried Snickers, deep fried Milky Way.
Deep fried Butterfinger. Oh, yeah,
that would be
I'm
fire.
a Butterfinger guy.
We had deep fried everything.
Twinkies.
Nice. Deep fried ice cream? Never heard of that. Is that
you get it at Mexican restaurants?
Is it good? It sounds kind of interesting.
Fire.
It's a vibe. Go to a Mexican restaurant on your birthday.
We used to get this place called Chi-Chi's. R.I.P.
Chi-Chi's. I remember Chi-Chi's.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah. They come out with the sombrero on
Yeah,
your
they-
birthday.
Fried ice cream.
They didn't play around.
Our last one, we're gonna piss off some fan bases here. Some fanboys might get their feelings hurt. Pick one. Which one's better? CZ75 or the SIG P320? Kyle, we'll start with you on this one.
I'm gonna go with the 320 on this, just because
Okay.
I've never shot the 75.
Oh, okay. All
And I
right.
thought the 320 is pretty nice.
I'm not a big SIG guy. Not because I don't like them. There's not been a SIG that's ever really like felt good in the hand, except for like a 226 Legion, but that's a whole different ball game. But I almost did pick up a 320 when it first came out. I was up 6, 7, 8 years ago whenever that first came out. It felt pretty good. I don't mind it. Ginger, what about you? 320 or a CZ75?
Well, the CZ75 doesn't double as a hand grenade, so I'm going with CZ75 because also they shoot freaking amazing. They're super flat. They're good weight. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I would be willing to bet. If I had to go between the two, I'd pick 75. I think, Kyle, if you ever do get a chance to shoot a 75, the way that how your gun preferences are, I think you would really enjoy a 75. I think that you would be a 75 fanboy. I don't know, fanboy. Mount Vernon has a Renaissance fair. That's only like half an hour from me. That's interesting. Okay. Interesting. I think you would enjoy 75, Kyle.
Yeah, I'll definitely hop on the next opportunity I get around one. Opportunity hasn't presented itself yet.
No, I get it. But I think that you would enjoy a CC75. Nothing against the 320, but it was actually a pretty close vote too. 1.3 thousand votes. 56% say the CZ75, 44% say the SIG P320. Close vote. So yeah, both great guns, obviously. I think the CZ75, that's what I would pick. Yeah. Let's see here. The October event includes free live entertainment, carnival rides, over 130 food booths, talent competitions, and a huge fall parade. Oh, that must be in Indiana. It's not in Mount Vernon, because there's like population, literally Mount Vernon, Arkansas, population of like 200. And that might be pushing it. Like, well, let's find out. Mount Vernon, Arkansas population. 277. I wasn't exaggerating. Population 277. So I bet you the whole town gets involved in that one. So, all right. Those are our pony polls. Go check out Anderson Manufacturing all over the social media websites, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, for artists formerly known as Twitter, and everywhere else. I think it's Anderson Manufacturing everywhere except for over on X is Anderson Rifles, because someone has already got that name. Man, just buy them out, bro. Just buy them out.
I've discovered something.
Send them $500 and just say, give us the name Anderson Manufacturing, you know?
If you type in Anderson Manufacturing in the search bar, it's going to take you to us.
It is. So go check it out. I know you guys had you were slashing prices last Friday. How'd that thing go for you?
Good. I appreciate everybody's support on that too. So I think the code got used somewhere between 50 and 60 times in one day. So
that's pretty
cool.
Good for like a little pop-up thing that like really, I mean, the cool thing about that one is you weren't letting that out publicly ahead of time. So people weren't like expecting the Friday the 13th thing. So like it literally happened on the 13th. So I think that's pretty good, I would say. I don't know if that's good numbers or not, but it sounds pretty good. You know,
I feel like that's pretty good. Did you see what we did there with the slash sale instead of flash?
I did. You and I saw a lot of really awesome candid photos from around the office there, you know. There was
Yeah,
one. It was
dude.
like you guys were in the board meeting. It was like, what the hell?
Huge shout out to the team on that one. Dude, the funny thing about the board meeting is like 2 of those people were from outside of the organization. Like,
Oh, so
didn't
they
even
had
know
no
us
idea what you were doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
You know, I'm really sad, Kyle. I thought you were announced. I went to Anderson's website. I saw the chart of knife sales. So it's like, oh, Anderson's doing knives now. I was pretty excited.
I thought people were going to think that too. And I was like,
come on
I
now.
shouldn't have done that. I
But
was
no.
trying to stick with the Jason theme there, but
See, what he's not telling you is in October, one of the things is there's going to be an Anderson knife collection coming out, maybe.
The Gurkhas.
Oh, snap.
Now I'm getting Gary excited out there.
It doesn't take much, I promise you.
You'll get poor Gary a heart attack.
Or you might get married again. I don't know. He might be looking for wife number 6, the next future Mrs. Decker. Artax has picked up a Kiger FDE frame. There you go. Nice.
Hell yeah, Artax.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Tonight's topic, we're going to keep going down the old concealed carry playlist series. Series kind of sounds good. A CCW series. We'll call it a series. We've been talking about different things about how to get started and maybe some different tips and drills. This one, in my opinion, is probably the most important of the episodes that we're going to talk about. And this is the mindset, talking about, do you have the mindset for concealed carry? Because there's a lot of people out there over the years that have contacted me and asked, and people around this town and all that, talking about carrying and all of that. And I love talking about it. But let's just be honest. And I've said this before, and it's kind of controversial. People get pissed at me, and that's okay. I don't care. People are pissed at me every day of my life. But I'll get a text in real quick.
Don't check your page.
Nice. Huh?
I said, don't check your pager.
Yeah, well, my pager goes beep, 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 beep. So I've got it on silent. I'll check that later. No, but the whole mindset is there's a lot of people that I'm not so sure that I want carrying at that moment, right? Just because that you can carry doesn't always mean that you should. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. What I want to talk about real quick is, before we start the conversation of the mindset, kind of go through Kyle and John. We'll start with Kyle first, and talking about the mindset. What are some of the things when you think mindset of concealed carry? What are some of the things that pop into your mind that you think people should know or should at least pay attention to if they're deciding to start carrying?
Well, I know I missed last week, but the week before, we were talking about situational awareness.
Absolutely.
I feel like situational awareness is one of the key things when you're carrying. Just kind of know your crowd, know the entryways, know the exit points, vantage points, all that crazy stuff. And I know it's going to sound like a little overkill, but when you carry, you also are carrying a responsibility, in my opinion, not only to protect your life and your family's life, but the life of other defenseless individuals that could be at risk. I don't ever carry asking for a fight. I hope to God I never have to use my carry. Yep. But at the same time, I am always prepared, or at least would like to think I am.
Yeah. Situational awareness to me, I think, is the top, right? In anything in life, not just with carrying, but just in general. And it's going to sound weird. I think you guys will understand this, and people out in the crowd will understand this, and most people watching or listening to this will probably understand. But if you're someone that's never really taken much thought about being aware of your surroundings, right? And you're going to dinner, or you're going to Walmart, whatever. if let's say we're going to a restaurant with my wife and my daughter, and we're eating somewhere, and her husband, I gotta start saying him now because he's in the family, so we wouldn't go out without him now. So the kids and the wife, and we're going somewhere to eat, let's say to steakhouse or Italian place, wherever. Obviously, I like to face the front door. If I can't face the front door, I'm at least going to be able to see it, and I'm going to know where exits are and all that. Now, here's the thing that people may not get, and I'm not saying this. I think that this situation is going to happen, or this is going to be a bad person. If there's someone for some reason in the restaurant, let's say, that I get my spidey senses are up a little bit, and I get a kind of a weird feeling. I'm not saying that he's going to go and draw a gun and start doing his thing. Just something. There's something about that guy. Or that girl or whatever. I don't know, but there's something about that person. I'm not going to let it consume me, but I'm going to know where that person is until I leave that restaurant. And I know it sounds weird, but that's just kind of something that I don't do like on purpose. It's just, I notice myself, like if I see something like that's weird, I'll kind of always like know where that person is until I'm gone. And I know that sounds weird, but that's part of the whole situational awareness thing. John, bring you in. Obviously situational awareness. What is something else maybe that you think when you hear the mindset of concealed carry, what's something you might think about?
Let's see. I guess the fight or flight would be another one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Are you gonna jump into the fight, or are you gonna go and go away? And that's one of those things you got to think about is, okay, in a situation, let's just say you see something happening. Do you assess the situation and jump right into the fight? Or let me rephrase that. Do you assess the situation and then jump into the fight after your assessment, or are you going straight into the fight, or are you backing away from the situation? So there's a number of things you can think about for that. Let's just say a fight breaks out and somebody has a bat and that's all you can see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you jumping into that to fight? Are you getting away from that situation? Do you know the whole thing? You don't know if the guy's got a bat because somebody's got a gun on them. You don't know if somebody's got a knife and they got a bat or whatever. So just that mindset of the time, the wherewithal of, do you jump into that fight, or do you back away, or do you assess the whole situation? So fight or flight is not the right way of putting it, but that's kind of the best way of putting it.
No, I love it. Some of the things that I wrote down, my little notes here, carrying is a lifestyle, and we're going to talk a little bit about these. You have the legal and the moral responsibility, right? Let's just be honest. If you're carrying and you ever have to draw your gun and use it, no matter if it was a clean shoot, whatever, no matter what happens, chances are you're at least going to be detained for a while. It's going to be a long night for you. Let's just say that. Probably ends up fine. But just understand, so there's the legal and the moral responsibilities, kind of where you're going with that. And then another one would be is like self-discipline. And that's probably more of kind of what you're talking about, John. What drives you, right? Let's be honest, guys. It would be naive to think that there are people out there that carry because they feel like a badass carrying a gun, right? It'd be naive to think that there weren't people out there. It would be naive of us to think that there are people that would jump at the chance to possibly use their firearm. That might be a good thing. Go ahead, Kyle.
I was going to say, I know for a fact that there are people out there, and I don't know. I wouldn't say the majority, but there's a lot of them.
It's a lot.
there's a lot of people that carry that, I guess, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's hard to put into words, but they don't really understand the full, what we're talking about right here, the mindset for concealed carry or for carrying in general. I've seen a lot of people that, well, I haven't seen it, witnessed it, but I've heard and seen videos of people that will pull their pistol out over an argument. And you're like, so the way I'm trained is if anybody ever pulls a gun on me, that's game on right there. Yeah. So I don't know. There's a lot of people that could afford some training and really a lot, not only like the physical training, but like also the mindset. Yeah.
One of the best things that I ever got from Jaeger, and it was worth any amount of money to go spend on training, wasn't the shooting side of it. Great training, don't get me wrong, the great physical side of training, great drills to make you a better shot and more comfortable in those situations. But the best part of the Jaeger classes is the mindset speech, and it's a couple hour classroom thing. And I was fortunate enough when I went that James actually gave it, not one of his instructors. He actually gave it, and it changed me for a good thing. And it changed a lot of people that day. And that whole mindset, it makes you think, oh, okay, why am I doing this? I know John was talking earlier about, let's say you're at a grocery store or wherever, and you see a commotion, and there all you see is a person with a baseball bat, but you don't know what the situation is around that. And he was like, so the question, I guess, John, that you were kind of putting out there was, do you just jump into the fight, or are you going to assess, or are you going to back off? And I'll go first. I'll let Kyle and then obviously Ginger, go through it as well. But no matter what that situation is, the first thing you have to do is assess what the hell is going on. Is the guy with the baseball bat the antagonist and he is the bad guy? Is he going after people swinging, or is he trying to fight off another bad guy? What is the situation? Let's say that you're at that same grocery store and you see a person with a gun. Are you that person that draws automatically and takes that shot? Are you the one that runs from that situation and it says, I don't want to be part of this? Hopefully you're the one that's going to sit there and say, very quickly, by the way, let's find out some more information, what's going on, whether you recon and you get some more info and you try to find out, why is this guy pointing a gun to kill someone, like someone innocent, or is this guy got a gun pointing at someone who's got us hostage? Like, what is the situation here? Once you assess that, okay, and this can be controversial as well. Maybe there'll be some people that disagree with me, and that's fine. You have your own thing. It depends on the situation. Is mine. Let's say if I assess the situation and I find out that this person is a gun and is trying to do harm to people. As much as I would like to sit there and say the right answer is to take that shot as quickly as you can to end that threat, the first thing I'm going to do is assess my own situation. Who am I with? Okay. Am I with my family? If the answer is yes, I'm getting my family out or somewhere safe, so they're no longer a factor in that situation. If my wife's with me, I'm going to get her back in the back of the refrigerated meat locker to where at least I know that that's probably a pretty safe place to be. Or outside, say, get in the car, go home. I'll call you later, whatever. I'm making sure my family. Now, the second thing I'm looking around is my immediate vicinity. Are there kids around? Are there old people that can't defend themselves? I'm going to try to get them to safety. Okay. I understand that all of this time there could be some shots taken, but that's my focal point at first, is once everyone around me that maybe can't help themselves or my family are safe, I'm probably running back into that fire and say, let's go hunting, boys. And if I'm by myself and there's no one around me in the immediate vicinity that needs help, the hunt's on. And I would like to think that, right? We can talk about this all we want, say, I would do this, I would do that. You don't really know. Like, unless you've actually been in that scenario, we know what we would want to do and we know what we should do, but we don't know actually what we would do. That's my opinion, but that's how I would try to assess the situation, is getting my family in safety first, any little kids or whatever around in my direct vicinity that need help getting somewhere safety, and then let's go hunt. I'm not the guy, I don't think, that I would just start drawing and letting lead fly. Kyle, I'm gonna let you go. Since it was John's question, I'll let him finish up with what he would like to think or what he would like to see out of people and all that. Kyle, in that situation where you've got someone that's drawn a gun in a grocery store or Walmart or some crowded place, what's in your mind, what would you like to think that would happen with you?
I agree with what you said, with the first step obviously being assess who's around him, who's behind him, what's your target, what's lying beyond it, what's he doing, and all this has happened to happen in fractions of a second or seconds.
Fractions of a second, yes.
And then at the same time, gosh, I hate to say this, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the who I'm with type part.
Okay.
Because I don't know.
It's a very fine line, man.
Yeah, it's tough. And
my person, the reason why I say this is my first thing. The reason why I personally carry is to keep me and my family safe, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why I say that I'm going to get them to safety first before I go hunt is if I draw and start engaging, right?
Oh yeah, you're a magnet.
I don't know what's going to happen to my family behind me. So once I get them, even if that means into the restroom in that Walmart, whatever, out of legitimate harm's way, then we can go. But that's that for me. And I think this is where everything's different, right? Kyle and John, as we can have this open discussion, is some people are out there. Yes, absolutely. We're there to help other people. I'm not sure, as Kyle or John, both of you said, part of the responsibility for carrying is not just your safety or your families. It's other people that can't protect themselves. So taking that, man, it could take up to a minute, let's say, to get them safe. That's a long time in a gunfight. A minute is a long time in a gunfight.
And that's my only concern there, but you pay for that. Yeah.
I don't know. And that's the moral problem that I have is, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right or anything. It's just that's where I lie is, if I'm with my family, I'm getting them safety and then we'll hunt. I don't know that. I know it's controversial, because what could happen in that minute while you're getting your family to safety? It could be over,
I mean, again, situation dependent for sure. But there's also you can kind of play along with whatever's going on. You can play dumb, like you don't have a gun or anything like that, and really get a glimpse into the situation. But again, it comes down to time, and you really need to figure out what the heck's going on soon. Another concern to have, and I think we talked about this last time too, is, are the police on the way? Because they're not going to give a damn who has a gun.
That's true.
You become a threat if you have a gun, even if if you're in the right. So
you become a threat, and once again, like I said, you're going to be detained. At the minimum, you're going to be detained.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing is so Rich out there says, problem is if you're thrown in a situation like you're describing, you're not going to have much time to react. I'm not sure you would have time to help other people. So once again, there are a lot of variables, right? We haven't discussed, has a weapon just been drawn or have there been shots fired? I think all things go out the window when shots are fired, right? If shots have been fired, then it's a whole other situation. It's an active shooter instead of possible, right? So I think that's all variables that can change everything, and it's fluid, right? I think it's tough.
With that being brought to light, and John, I'm sorry, I just want to throw this in real quick. There is always methods of de-escalation.
This is true.
Typically, if someone pulls and they don't immediately start firing, there is a chance of de-escalation at that point. And you should always
they don't really want to.
Yeah, I agree.
And we don't know why that person's in the situation either. You know what I'm saying?
It could be a shitty day at work and they've just had enough, but they're not really, you don't know what mental state they're in.
Don't know if they haven't had food for the family for a week and they literally are just trying to rob Peter to feed the kids. We don't know. We don't know the situation. Now, once shots have been fired,
we know the situation.
Yeah. Go ahead, John.
And that's the thing that I was trying to get at. The first thing I wanted to add in real quick, because we kind of brought it up, is the gun-ho people. I think when I started first concealed carrying, and it's been a while now, it was gun-ho. I was younger. So my younger self was always, it's gun-ho. And now as I get older, and I guess the switch happened like 5-6 years ago. It's not as gun-ho. It's more of, okay, we got to figure this out. And what I mean by the situational thing, let's just take example. We're at a Walmart, and I'm with Trey on this, where it's kind of like get the family, get the wife out of the way, kind of go back away. But my thing is, you're at a Walmart, you just see somebody in plain clothes draw a firearm, right? Well, you don't know if that's a plainclothes cop. You don't know if that's another concealed carry permit holder who's got something out.
Could be a good guy. There's no way of knowing at that moment. That snapshot. There's no way of knowing good guy or bad guy, right?
And that's one of those things where, and Kyle brought it up. I was at something and somebody drew a gun, and they were real close, and I closed the gap real fast. I grabbed it. I was like, "What are we doing here?" And they were like, "Oh, well, this person made me." I'm like, "No, we're not playing this game. You're 23 years old. Do you want to make this life decision?"
Yeah.
Well, no. You've got it. There's a lot of tactics you can do. Kyle brought it up, right? De-escalation, but you don't know what's going on from 1,000-foot view. But at the same time, you have to be ready to react to what's going on. So you don't know, we'll take the example if we were at a Walmart, guy on the ground, guy with a gun pointing at him. Well, your mindset, it can be twofold. It could be either that's a active shooter or that's a guy stopping another threat. And you have to assess that. And that's the hard part, because it's that split second, like you said. But to assess it, you got to go, okay, well, what is the situation? What's going on around? There's somebody down. Okay. Is there people there backing off? What's going on? We've seen things like that. And the last thing you want to have is a bad shoot, because trying to explain that, it was like, well, I feared for my life, or I feared for this person's life. Yeah. But there at the same time, well, this person just beat up this person, and this person's de-escalating the situation.
Yep.
It's really hard to react in the moment, but you have to
for sure
react in that moment to go, okay, my mindset is twofold. Am I assessing the threat? Am I in immediate danger? Is somebody else in immediate danger? Do I have the perceived notion that my life or somebody else's life is in immediate danger?
Intimate danger.
Intimate, yes.
Because that's it sounds one of those things where words matter in the face of the law too. There are legal sides to all of this stuff. I want to pose a question to both of you guys, and I'll start with you, Ginger, since your mic's hot. Let's assume we're in this Walmart that we've been talking about, right? Let's just say we're in this Walmart. we know that someone, we have maybe have not seen it yet, right? But we've heard gunshots. So we know somewhere in this store, there's an active shooter, right? You've assessed as much as you can. You're trying to figure out what's going on. You draw your gun, right? Now, as you're maybe clearing aisles and clearing your way to find out more information, you notice that there's one or two other citizens that are carrying that have also decided to join the fight. At this point, you don't know these people, right? You don't know them. But obviously you're all kind of on the same team, right? Or you're at least trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So now you've got two or three people that are carrying, and you see them. Are you either verbally or non-verbally, are you trying to make contact with them and maybe create a plan, joining up as a little fire team and trying to work together? Or are you trying to stay away from that scenario? Guys, what do y'all think?
I would say it's one of two assessments. My first thought is, yes, I'm going to be nonverbal communication, trying to get a hold of them, point, clear the area. My other
you go here, watch out, whatever.
My other gut thing is, okay, well, if they're clearing that side and I'm clearing this side and I've got people coming towards me, my other goal is to save as many lives as possible. So it's direct people while going and being that.
Knowing that there's other people that might be able to take that shot, you might go in to say, hey, I can now change and maybe help other people because we've got help over here, right? Is that what you're saying?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Because the last thing you want is, again, this comes down to your situational awareness is what's going on. The last thing you want is, first off, you don't want to miscommunicate with those people. You want to make sure that you guys are on the same team and everybody knows what the common goal is.
Sure.
But the other thing you don't want is to create an unsafe situation, not only for you, but for them, because then as your fire team is coming, there's a possibility of crossfire, and not being able to do that and to accidentally shoot. Again, same thing Kyle said, assessing the people around there, your shot, as we all know, the 4 rules of firearm safety, knowing what's beyond your target. In that moment, you're so tunnel vision, it might be just as advantageous to direct people to go towards the exit, and you're clear and they're clear and that we're all coming in, and then kind of working together to make sure that there is no crossfire. We don't get an accident, somebody accidentally getting shot. You know what I mean?
Yep. Kyle, what say you, my man?
Bet you can guess what I'm gonna say. It just depends on the situation.
It does. It does.
So
because here's the thing, we don't know what their backgrounds are. We don't know what kind of training they've had. How much can we rely on this person? Is this guy the same guy that's looking to be trigger happy? Or is this a guy that's going to freeze up in a situation? We don't know any of these answers.
In my mind, I'm thinking like probably the tip off to me is going to be, you see old boy like reaching, like got his shirt probably already in his hand, like ready to freaking, and at that point, gosh, it's so hard to tell what exactly I would do. I don't know. I don't know. It depends on the situation. I try to non-verbally communicate with him because I feel like the smartest thing to do maybe is to straight just brutally charge this motherfucker, like blindside him.
So, yeah.
Go ahead. And hope to God because he's going to squeeze when you take him down, and hope to God that doesn't hit anybody. Yeah. But at the same time, like John said, there's another side of that scenario where now you're in the freaking crossfire. I don't know.
Well,
big takeaway, guys, is the whole situation is going to depend on it.
Well, here's
Well, the whole point is these are things that most people don't ever think about. And so I'm not saying to spend your whole life thinking about these scenarios, but if you've never thought about it and you are in that scenario, now you're going to be freaked out. At least if you think about what you would like to do and you kind of go over in your head sometimes, at least you're somewhat prepared. In your mind, you've done it 100 times. You know what I'm saying? It might help. I don't know. It may not. Go ahead, John.
I might, in this scenario, are you thinking that they're coming down the aisle guns drawn, or because Kyle's like, oh, he's grabbing his shirt? Because at that point, wouldn't they? My thought process is they'd be guns drawn, ready, going down the aisle, clearing. But at the same time, you never know. Because at the
same time, well, I the answer is I don't know. I mean, we could talk for 3 hours, right?
Well,
go ahead.
Let's bring in another aspect of this that people don't commonly talk about, at least people I've talked to.
Yeah.
Is like another thing that's going to happen is your adrenaline is going to kick in. Your adrenal glands are going to release adrenaline. You're going to be hypersensitive.
Your breathing rate is going to increase dramatically.
Yes. And I can't think of words right now, but whatever, your peripherals.
Yep.
Your senses are going to be enhanced.
Yep.
You're going
to hear things that you never thought you would hear before. And I've been there. I know you have. It's a crazy feel when you feel like you're in that zone. People talk about the zone. It's an interesting place to be. You know,
it's a life-saving. It's a life-saving natural thing that happens to us.
Things slow down. And if you've never been there, and you've never witnessed or you've never felt things, it doesn't have to be in a gunfight or anything, just in general, whatever you're doing. If you've never had that sensation of things feel like they're moving in slow motion, like they're slowing down, that's a real thing. Like things aren't slowing down, but your senses are so in tune that your body can see things and process. And that's what it is. It's processing the visuals so much faster than it normally can. And that's adrenaline.
Yeah.
People talk about people being able to lift a car off of their child because of adrenaline. Like there are superhuman things that happen the body can do. It just can't do it all the time.
Yeah. And now on some folks, it does have an adverse effect. You could absolutely lock up. That's just one of those things that you
freeze up. Yep.
You could drop to the fetal position and just kind of, it's not anything. It doesn't say anything about you. It's just a natural occurrence. And then some people are just, it's ingrained different into them. So, yeah, but that's another factor to bring in is adrenaline too. And really knowing how to control that. And I don't typically brag. I don't even know if you call it bragging, but I do remember my first firefight in the Marine Corps, and my right leg was uncontrollably shaking, no matter how much running and firing, whatever the case may have been. I could not stop it throughout the entire contact. So, did that stop? Yes.
Sure.
As I advanced in my career, but the first time is definitely something, and I think that's where training comes into play. Like, you can train and get to that point. It's just not necessarily to that point, but you can train. I don't know.
I 100%
mitigate those effects as much.
I 100% agree. And this is something that John, I'm not trying to be an asshole and tell you that you're not going to understand what we're saying because blah, blah, blah. You sent me a text. Okay. What disparity of force? Yeah, we can talk about that here in a second. That's could be good or bad. Let's be honest. That's kind of what we're talking about. That situation Kyle's talking about. Hey, if we can get together, really quickly and assess what each other's skills are or whatever, and we can do something. We can bull rush that motherfucker, and understand that everyone's on the same wavelength here. Hey, don't shoot! I'm getting ready to take this dude out. Whatever. But it also could be bad. Disparity of force is not always people think that it's, no, it could be, we can talk about that here in a second. But what I was trying to say earlier is no offense, John. Kyle knows exactly what I'm talking about. So when we were training, we were getting ready for a workup for something. And we would, let's say we're clearing a structure, right? Whatever it is that we're doing. And we would do it hundreds, 1,000 times, right? And this was something that I understood what they were saying, but it didn't hit until you put that into real life. Is I kept hearing sergeants and gunnies and warrant officers saying, again, be perfect. Again, not perfect enough, not fast enough, again. And I remember one day we did something probably 200 or 300 times. At the end of the day, I was worn ass out going, what? I asked one of my sergeants or corporals, whatever it was my squad leader. And I said, what the fuck, man? Like, surely some of those were good, right? Like some of those had to have been good. Look me dead in the eye. I'm 19 years old at this point, and looked me dead in the eye and says, we're not trying to do it perfect. We're not trying to do it so that we don't mess up. You're going to mess up. You do it until you can't mess up. And I was like, oh, snap.
That muscle memory.
You do it to where you physically can't mess up. Now, at that point, it's mental, right? Your body is physical, like you said, muscle memory. And even for the most part, mental memory, right? You do things enough until you can't do it wrong. But you never know. I guarantee you there is a unit guy, Delta Force guy, right? Literally the tip of the spear in the world. Literally the most badass guys in the world. Literally. I will guarantee you they've been doing this for 20 years and talking about being able to clear a structure. They're the best in the world at doing that. But even those guys, depending on the situation, what if you're a point guy and you're a one guy and you get to go through that threshold first, right? It takes a special person to be a one guy. I was a one guy because I was too stupid to know what I was doing. I thought it was cool. It wasn't. But there's going to be a one guy or a point guy or whatever you want to call it, right? Who makes first entrance through that threshold. And you've done it 1,000 times, 10,000 times. You know the structure left and right. You know who's supposed to be in that house, and boom, 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 boom. We know our HVTs on level 3 in the bedroom. We got this. Not a problem. We've done this thousands of times working up. You turn that first corner and there's a 3-year-old kid that's not supposed to be there. You freeze. What happens? Don't know. What if you see a kid in the corner and you freeze for that half a second and there's a guy down the hallway? For that half a second, now you and the guys behind you get lit up. The whole point is you don't know.
Yeah.
You can train all you want, but you also have to be ready for anything and everything at any given time. That's where the mental side of this comes through, is rely on your physical training. Rely on it, because it's gonna make you who you are. It's gonna save you in a lot of situations. But if you go in, and part of the thing, Kyle, of being in the zone is sometimes you're just almost floating, right? You've been there. You kind of feel like you're just floating through things, and everything seems easy. So sometimes your mind isn't dead on, spot on, because you're just kind of floating. Those are when mentally, if you're not mentally in it at all times, rely on your physical training, that your body's going to know what to do. Keep your mind sharp. Be thinking about different things. It's one of those things. I don't know. It's tough. It's a tough thing. I don't even know where we were talking about before I went down that rabbit hole.
We were in the situation of the Walmart, and now you got two guys that are like tipping you off, like, hey,
yeah,
we're with you.
Did both of you answer that?
We both answered it.
Okay.
And then we got on. I brought up adrenaline, and then we went down a route.
I love it. No, I love it. Adrenaline's great. Because that is something. So there's a lot of things when you are training, folks. Are you going to be able to simulate an adrenaline rush? Probably not. If you're just going to the range, you're probably not going to be able to simulate that because your body's not in that fight or flight scenario, right? What you can do, and I do this all the time, and I think everyone should. If you're always kind of in a static mode, you're just kind of standing around the range shooting at paper or steel targets, no stress and all of that. Yeah, it's great. Why not do yourself and do 50 or 100 jumping jacks or 25 push-ups or as many push-ups as you can, and then run in place as hard as you can for a minute and then try to shoot your gun. And what I would think you should do is get a paper plate on a target, do your static shooting, have another target with a paper plate, do your calisthenics, get your heart rate up, and then try to shoot. See the difference. Yeah. People would be completely surprised at how bad of a shot you are the first time you shoot under stress or under in a heart rate that's been raised, your shortness of breath, your breathing hard. All of this keeps that muzzle's moving, and you've got to be able to understand how you shoot. So I think if you're going to train, you should train. Throw that in the training as well. Do some jumping jacks, run and play, some push-ups, whatever it takes to get that heart rate up, your breathing changed, and then try to shoot. Understand what happens to you when that happens. We've talked about the mental preparedness in the high stress situation, avoidance, engaging, whether to avoid the problem, engage the fight or the flight, right, John, that you were talking about, the psychological readiness of being prepared, the situational awareness and understanding that you need to be mentally kind of prepared at all times for, and I'm not saying walk through life in this paranoid fog that something bad's going to happen. I'm not saying that because I'm not that guy. I live life and I enjoy life, but I'm always kind of scanning. And that's just how I am. I'm always kind of aware of what's going on, but just being ready for kind of what happens. Stress management. We talked a little bit about that as well. Throwing in some calisthenics or whatever when you train, get your heart rate up, get your breathing down. All of those things are critical. We've talked about the morals, if you will. I think John used the word morals, right? Of the morality of, do we take this shot? The fight or flight, right? Do we, how much time? I think we would all agree, Kyle and John, right? I think we all agree that before we pull that trigger, we're going to assess the situation, right? I think we'd all like to say we're going to assess the situation, but how much do we assess, right? And the answer is don't know. The situation will dictate that. If it's an active shooter already, your assessment's going to happen a lot quicker than if it's not a live active shooting scenario, right? That side of things. The legal justifications, right? I understand there is going to be a legal side to this. And I think Kyle, he brings up a phenomenal point. If you've assessed, and whether there's 2 or 3 other people that you're kind of working with, or it's a lone wolf situation, you're by yourself and you're the only one that can help, that you know of, no matter what happens, if you have a gun in your hands when the police show up, you 100% in their eyes are the threat at that time. Be ready for that. They don't care if you say, hey guys, hey, I'm here to help. I mean, I'm a good guy. They don't care. they're going to disarm that. I'm not saying disarm like disarm you, but they're going to get rid of you as a threat as quickly as they can. You would like to think that they would do it in a way that de-escalating and all of that. They don't know. They walk in, they see you with your gun, and it's, it's drawn. They might take that shot. That's just the reality of it. All of these things play a role into the mindset. We talked about training. Kyle brought up training. Training is a must, and not just the physical side of training, the mental side. For concealed carry, obviously concealed carry 101 class is great. Self-defense class is great. I talk about this. Take a trauma class, take a stop the bleed class. You can be just as much help without drawing your gun if someone's already been shot, and be the first EMT on site, right? The first person to save a life until the paramedics get there. I would say something that has become, unfortunately, needed, but also increasingly more popular the last several years. There are a lot of people that are doing some really great active shooter training. And it's gone beyond just active shooter training for law enforcement, right? It's open now to a lot of civilians to go take that training, to understanding different things. And I would suggest maybe taking some of that. I think that would be an interesting training to take. A lot of force on force, possibly, right? Really cool training as well. Go ahead.
That's what I was going to say. Is a great training method. Like if you can get into a training with sim rounds, that's force on force, man, you want to get as close to the real thing as possible.
Simulations, yep.
The adrenaline and all that stuff we've been talking about, reading the situation, everything, like that's some invaluable training right there.
Absolutely. Scott brings up competitive shooting. Well, you look at IDPA, right? USPSA. IDPA is the International Defensive Pistol Association. Literally was started by Bill Wilson for having a competition. I shot IDPA. You have to wear, you have to be concealed. A lot of people wear vests and all that. You have to be concealed. You have to draw from concealment at every stage, right? So competition does kind of put you in that mindset. We're on a clock, so it puts you in a stressful situation. And so I've never had it, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm sure people do, and I'm not good enough to maybe have it. But I've never had the pure adrenaline rush in a competition that I have in other things in my life. But not saying you can't, but it definitely is going to increase your heart rate. It's going to give you stress. You're under a clock. So it does absolutely. Competitive shooting does prepare you for some of this. The big one that I want to discuss, and this is where I have been chastised in our own community by other people that are friends of mine, are peers of mine, are colleagues of mine, as Clover likes to say, viewers over the years. And I've been very vocal about this for a long time. And I kind of alluded to it earlier. There are some people that I don't necessarily want carrying. That might be a controversial subject. I'm all for everybody carrying. But there are some people that I don't want carrying, at least for a moment. And this talks about the mindset. I'm going to let Kyle and John bring in some of their thoughts in a second. But I want to get this off my chest real quick. I'm getting ready to piss some people off, probably. And many of you that have been around me for long enough know what I'm getting ready to say. But for those of you that are new to me, sit back because I'm getting ready to piss you off, probably. If you're gung-ho, everyone should carry. I don't agree with that. When it comes to the mindset, we've talked a lot about tonight. We know what we would like to do. We know in our mind what we would, what we plan on doing, but we don't know what's going to happen when it really happens, right? And God hoping we never have to find out, right? I don't think anyone out here is that person that says, man, I can't wait to use my gun in self-defense. I hope I never have to use my gun in self-defense, or defense of anybody. But I will say this. If you are not mentally prepared to take that shot, you can think you are, but you need to have a really heart-to-heart, down-to-earth conversation with yourself and ask yourself, am I truly mentally, physically, what happens to my life afterwards? Am I truly ready to take that shot and possibly end the life? If the answer is no, then don't carry. Until you can maybe get to that point. And I know that sounds weird. And the reason why I say this, I don't say that because I'm an ass. I am an ass, but I'm not saying it because I'm an ass. I'm saying it because if you're in that situation and you're truly not committed to take that shot and possibly end someone's life, doesn't matter if that's a bad person, a good person, whatever. Hopefully it's a bad person, but it doesn't matter. You're going to end a life probably. If you're not ready to end someone's life, you could be more dangerous to that situation than help. Okay? If you're in a gas station, you're in that Walmart, and someone is there and they're trying to do harm to others, and you pull your gun. Well, the second you pull your gun, you have just escalated that situation to the nth degree automatically, because now there's two guns involved, right? Good or bad, you have escalated that situation. Chances are, if I have drawn my weapon, I'm getting ready to engage. I'm not going to draw my weapon and just kind of talk, sit there and try to talk. If I'm going to try to talk him down or her down, I'm not drawing my weapon, because that's going to escalate the situation, not de-escalate the situation. Once I've drawn, I'm pretty much committed to take that shot, right? That's just me. Do what you want to do. If you draw, you've already automatically escalated that situation for everyone in that, including that shooter, because now that guy's freaking out, or that person's freaking out, because now there's another gun involved, right? We don't know if that gun's loaded or not. We don't know if he has any intention. Let's just say that maybe he has shot somebody already. So we know that answer, right? But if you draw your weapon and you're not ready to take that shot, what happens? You freeze, right? So now you're given the window of opportunity for that active shooter to engage you. So you could be shot. What if he misses you and hits a family member or anyone, doesn't matter who it is at that point, an innocent bystander behind you, because they haven't been in training and they are just willy-nilly and firing, pulling triggers. Okay, you've caused that problem. Most importantly, what if you freeze and then take that shot? Now you're stressed. Freeze. Now I've got to hurry and take that shot. And now you've missed. And your round has gone outside a window or through an aisle, and you have struck someone on accident, all because you weren't mentally prepared. I'm not saying that you have to be ready to. I'm never going to say it's okay for you to think that it's okay to end someone's life. I don't think it is. I don't think that the average person should ever walk around saying it's okay to end someone's life if I'm in that situation. I don't think that is. That said, if you're not ready to do that in a certain situation, maybe you shouldn't carry. I know Kyle John will bring you guys in. I know it doesn't sound the most positive thing, but I'm very honest about that. I think that people should wait. If you're not ready, wait, get some more training, put yourself in a situation to where maybe you do feel more comfortable. Am I way off base with this? Because I've been having people that give me legitimate arguments, and I see their arguments. I'm still a firm believer. If you're not mentally ready to take that shot, don't carry. Where do you guys stand on that? It's okay to tell me that I'm wrong.
I see it from both sides. You're definitely on the right track, because it. Let's just be honest with everybody. Like that's a huge burden, a burden to shoulder.
Yeah.
Good guy, bad guy. After the fact, you're always going to think about that person. You're always going to wonder, like, it's a lot. It is a lot. As you guys know, I served, and I got a lot of friends of mine, and I'm not afraid to admit, even myself, have struggled with some things pertaining to this. And it is definitely going to have a long impact on your life. I will just say
it's going to change your life, but it's going to change your life to a certain extent.
Yeah, because I mean, we all know, like, if human life is not the most important thing on this earth, then what is to us? I mean, being humans. So, it's a heavy weight to carry. But at the same time, like we talked about at the beginning of the show, at the same time, you can also save a lot of lives.
You can.
So yeah, that's about really all I got to say on that. I agree with you that you should be prepared. And I think the people that are all like, oh, this guy just called me a what, and pull their gun, that's the part that they don't grasp is how serious it is. And I don't think they grasp that other people do grasp that, and they could pull on the wrong person.
Everyone wants to think they're a great shot.
Well, yeah, that too.
But we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
shooting on the range and shooting in a Walmart's two different things, Yeah,
it's just something you can't ever be fully prepared for.
Yeah. Civilians that don't have shoot houses and all that, can never really simulate that type of scenario, right?
And I always go back to this. I went to this when we talked about defending our homes and CQB and stuff like that. I highly encourage anybody that carries or is thinking about carrying. You don't have to buy it. I've got no relationship with this guy or anything like that. Go to the library and just check it out. 2 books, On Combat and On Killing, by Dave Grossman. That'll really explain to you, like, the psychological impacts of combat and taking a life.
Couple books there that everyone should read.
Yeah. Do I necessarily agree with everything Dave Grossman says out there? I do not.
No, you're not going to.
But man, those books really have a lot of truth in them, and it's all factual based. It's interviews with police officers, interviews with soldiers, Marines, sailors who came back from combat.
Links to those. Go ahead. I'm going to try to find those.
But like I said, the psychological impact is gonna happen, and that's just something that you never be fully prepared for. But you need, again, it goes back to the mental preparation and the moral.
Yeah,
you got to be strong morally. You got to be able to make snap decisions, and it's 100% got to be the correct one, because God forbid you make the wrong decision. It's a huge obligation, but at the same time, it's an obligation that a lot of us need to take, because not everybody is built to defend the defenseless.
Yeah. There's a link out there to not all, but most of Dave Grossman's books. He's got some great ones. Warrior Mindset, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal book. But there's an Amazon link out there to a whole list of his books. So go check those out. I agree with you. I think that's where the whole thing with Jaeger for me, the hour and a half, 2 hour mindset lecture changed me. I remember leaving that training on Sunday night in Tennessee, and I called G Webbs because G had been to train with Jaeger before. And I call him, and he knew I was going to call him. He didn't tell me that he was, but he saw. He's like, "What'd you think?" And he said, "How was that mindset?" And I was like, "Holy shit, it'll change you." But that whole mindset, the mindset of a warrior, being your own warrior, it's a different thing. So yeah, if you have never been put in that situation, or you've never had that opportunity to understand what the warrior mindset is, read some books, go take some training, try to understand what that warrior mentality is. Ginger, I'm going to bring you in here. What do you think about people that may or may not be 100% mentally ready, have the mindset of that warrior? What do you think about that? Carry or wait or what?
Let me start off with this because I work for GOA.
Yes.
Everybody has the right to carry. Everyone should have the right to carry.
100%. 100%.
But yes, you do have to be in that mindset. You do have to be prepared. I spend a lot of time working with Stephen Williford. And for those of you who don't know who Stephen Williford is, Stephen stopped a church shooting.
Maybe one of the best shots ever, maybe,
Yeah. In Spring,
Texas.
Is it Spring, Texas? It's something.
Well,
I thought it was Spring.
It wasn't Spring. It Springs outside of Houston, but it was a small town in Texas. And it happened about 4 or 5 years ago. It was a fantastic shot.
Yeah. So there's two things that you got. First off, there's the mental aspect. And like Kyle said, Stephen, talking to him, you can tell it still brings him to tears and still brings it up. And that is something that a lot of people don't get that look into. And I highly, if you see Stephen at an event, go up and talk to him. He will tell you his story.
Sutherland Springs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've only heard it like 6 billion times. Right. But go talk to him about his story. It is.
He likes talking about it, which some people don't. He doesn't mind talking about it. I've met him. I mean, I can't how many times I've met him now.
But it is that mindset that you have to be in. And the big thing that a lot of people, and you're not wrong. There are people who I was teaching concealed carry classes for years, and when I got done, there were people who I was like, okay, I'm good, and the other people scared me. It is that mindset of, okay, this is a tool that you're using to defend your life. This isn't a tool to brandish or scare somebody because you got in a road rage. This isn't a tool to be used as I think there's that mindset that when certain people, especially younger people, get into it, that they get this mindset of that they're a badass, and there's a lot more that goes into this than just strapping on a gun and calling yourself a badass. I mean, you see it all. I saw it all the time. I worked with a lot of younger guys, and they were all
That's a great point. Just because you carry a gun does not mean you're a badass. Sometimes that's the opposite. Let's just be honest. Go ahead. Sorry.
And it's one of those things where you have to be in that mindset, not 24/7, but you got to be in that mindset every time that gun gets strapped on you. I mean, or you're carrying.
You should be in that mindset.
And I've gotten into some weird situations. One of them with Mike Mills, which is a funny. Now looking back at it, it's a funny situation, but just the mindset. Okay, I have my AR pistol. I know where this target's going to be. I know what's going on. I know that behind the target there's a road. Are you knowing that, with a round, if I miss, there's a lot of things that go into this, and not being in that mindset of, okay, I have to assess the threat. I have to be there. I'm not ever going to discourage somebody from carrying, but I also am going to encourage them to definitely think hard about, what to carry, when to carry, what, when is the proper time, get in that mindset, like, hey, putting this on does not make you this ultimate badass. It just makes you a person. And
It
when is the
doesn't
proper
necessarily make you
time?
a hero. It could make you a vigilante.
Yeah.
And that's not always
and
good.
the big thing is letting them know, there is a time and a place. And, because somebody irritated you, and I had this long conversation with somebody I used to work with, because they did something really dumb. And I looked at them after the fact, and I sat there down with them. I was like, listen, you did this. Why'd you do this? Well, because they made me angry. Okay, well, then you need to rethink why you're carrying a gun, why you're doing this. That right there, that is not only could have you ended a life, but it also could have been your life being ended. And he's like, what do you mean by my life being ended? I'm like, that's life in prison. That's murder, dude. Like, you gotta think bigger picture, that it's not I'm doing this because I felt threatened. I'm like, well, how did you feel threatened? Well, he said something I didn't like. Well, that's not a threat.
That's not an imminent threat to, that's not an imminent threat.
Were they threatening you bodily harm? Were they doing this? And he's like, oh, I get what you're getting at. I understand. It's like, it comes with age and knowledge, and as you get older and you gain more responsibilities and you gain this, you have to understand that if you were to act on this, you are no longer a member of society.
Yeah.
You are in a 8x10 cell, which is probably big for a prison, with a guy named Bubba.
I don't know. I hope I never do know if that's a big cell or not.
With a guy named Bubba who's going to make your skinny butt his bitch. And that's the thing that you have to think. And that's a lot of the talk about when I was teaching concealed carry classes, is this is a mindset that you have to be in. And if you're not comfortable with that mindset, like, carrying is not comfortable. It can be comfortable, but it's not comfortable. And you have to be in that mindset of, okay, I'm going to put this on because I'm going to protect myself and my family and whoever, and go, so on and so forth. I know that's kind of a long-winded answer, but
no, it's fantastic. And we talked about this a few weeks ago in the first one about starting the carry, and it is a big mental decision just to make the decision to want to start carrying. Like, that's a big mental hurdle, a step right there, just to say, I think I want to start carrying. That's not, let's just be honest. In our world, that's a common thing. But for a lot of people, just the idea of wanting to carry a gun is not a normal decision that the average person makes in their lives, right? So it is. I understand. I
was going to piggyback on
Go
John
for
too. And this is just my perspective here. Don't ever draw if the threat's not lethal. Take an ass whooping, or
sometimes it's okay to get your ass beat.
That's not, the threat's got to be lethal. And do not ever, when you're carrying, and I'm not preaching to you, this is just from my experience and seeing people.
Yep.
Don't ever make emotional decisions. It's business decisions only. If it comes down to I'm walking away from this, or they are, that's a business decision. But you get angry or you feel disrespected, that's no reason to ever threaten lethal force. So
absolutely, 100%. Couldn't have said it better. And we talked about the mindset thing, and hopefully throughout this conversation that we've had tonight, and maybe you have this with other people, or hopefully this kind of plants a seed for you to find out more about carrying and having that mindset. And sometimes you maybe have to develop that mindset, right? Develop the mindset to carry, whether it's training. We all talk about training and putting yourself in stressful situations, or scenario-based, like active shooter training, understanding human behavior, maybe talking with a psychologist or something, understanding that thought process, right? Obviously just having solid firearm proficiency skills, right? Being proficient with your firearm, and learning new skills, whether it's stop the bleed, it's trauma, all of these things, learning new skills, but then being committed to learning, right? Not just going and taking these classes, but being committed to learn, go to these classes, but then come home and practice them, make them a part of your repertoire, if you will, right? Keep educating yourself on different physical skills, different mental skills, maybe keeping up with laws. You never know what laws are changing. You never know. Making sure that you're up to date on those laws when it comes to firearms and carrying and all of that. But I think where a lot of it, Kyle and John, I mean, I'll let you come into this as well, but what we've talked a lot about tonight is like the mental conditioning of the mindset, is being the mental conditioning of strategies on trying to maintain clear or a rational mindset when carrying or under stressful situations, and that situation where you're actually having to utilize that carry weapon or not utilize it or whatever. Understanding the moral side of things. Kind of what Kyle, you and John have both kind of alluded to tonight is I want to say a little bit differently, but dropping the ego, maybe. If you're going to carry, it shouldn't be about you carrying. It shouldn't be about you wanting or looking forward to drawing that gun to utilize it, right? Drop the ego. If anything, you shouldn't have an ego if you're going to carry. That should be one, like both, we've all said this, it's the last resort, right? It's okay to get into a fist fight with someone, and it's okay to get your ass whooped. I've had my ass whooped many, many times, and I'm almost 50. I hope I don't get my ass whooped anymore, but it probably will happen. I tried to avoid fights, but I would rather get my ass whooped in a sketchy, unknown situation than doing something that could change not just my life, but that person's life, my family's life, his or her family's life. We don't know how far this spider web reaches with one quick decision. Drop the ego, and all of that. I think there's a lot of things that we've talked about tonight that hopefully this helps other people. Kyle, I want to bring you in real quick. Any last thoughts on kind of things we might not have covered tonight that you want to get out on the mindset of carrying, or anything like that? Kind of recap for you what the mindset means, or what maybe people should be doing.
I feel like we touched on a lot tonight.
We did tonight. It was a lot of information out there.
Yeah. Hopefully it helps somebody out there. But situation awareness.
Yep.
Kind of like what we did a lot tonight. Play through scenarios in your mind. Like Gus said, don't take it to the next level to where you're like anxiety ridden 24/7, but at the same time, playing these scenarios out, or even talking with some buddies that you train with.
Yeah.
Just talking through some scenarios, like that's going to help you on that mental side that we've been talking about.
Yeah, for sure.
I hate to sound like a nerd here, and I am a word nerd, but reading about people's experiences, reading books by people who have been through it. Gosh, there's so many. I gave Dave Grossman as an example, but there's so many books of people who write about their experience, even being in a scenario where it's self-defense and you're out in town, and just research it. Try to get yourself. I love that we hit on the mental aspect of things tonight too, and the psychological impact, and kind of the responsibility that you accept carrying a firearm. So
yeah, I think that's a lot. I think that, for us, there's that's second nature for us, what up? We've all had these discussions. We've all had these thought processes. For those who have been caring for a while, we've all been through this. But for someone that's trying to make that decision of should I or should I not carry, or I want to carry, but am I ready to carry, or hey, I'm carrying now. I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about, they're more interested in, hey, I need to get some training. I need to get to the range. I need to be a better shot. But a lot of it, I would say the vast majority of it is mental. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that enough. Ginger, bring you in. Anything that we've missed that you want to bring up, recap, whatever you need to do. You got some time now.
Yeah, I think the big thing is knowing your natural ability, natural ability is not the right word. Knowing your abilities and knowing what you can and how to get in the fight if you need to get in the fight is a big thing that you have to think about. I know I've had this conversation with my wife for the last before we got married about carrying, and now that we're in Arizona and constitutional carry is a thing, that she is not mentally prepared or not there. And you can't, the big thing is you're going to have these conversations with people. And I've had the conversation over the week. Well, her cousins were in town and they were like, do you carry often? And because everywhere we left, I brought my fanny pack with my gun in it and we went around town. And like, do you do that often? I go, yes, I do this often. And it is that mental thing. And you don't want to force somebody who's not ready to be in that mental state into that mental state. You can encourage them. That's the big thing. Encourage them, take them out, get training, talk, but they have to make the decision on their own to take that next step and talk to them about the mental aspect, the situational awareness aspect, all that stuff. I guess I am one of those people who, like, I travel a lot. And there are times where I'll bring my gun, and there are times I won't bring my gun because it is a hassle going through TSA with a gun.
It is.
But it all depends on where am I going. If I'm going to a range day let's just take Trigger Con, like I know that there's going to be like 75 armed people there. We're not going very far, and I'm hanging out with all the same people. Pretty good.
And chances are they're carrying, and they might even actually have one for you. Like, hey, can you bring an extra one when I land so I don't have to travel with one? We've done that. Clover brings an extra gun sometimes to Vegas, and that's for me to carry if I need to,
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's like
that's mental training. That's mental being prepared, right?
Yeah, and it's always like, let's see, when we went to Indy for NRAM the one year, Snob brought me a gun. And I was like, okay, I know exactly. I know this gun. I know how it shoots. Blah blah blah. It's that thing where I do it often. Even during goals, I carried maybe 2 days out of the whole week. I had it in my backpack with me everywhere I went, but I carried it on my person maybe 2 days because by the time I'm in, I
never carried on person. I had my backpack. I never. At goals, I never had it on person,
and that's one of those things where
I never feel like I needed to. I always had it in my backpack. I was ready, but I never felt like I needed to.
Yeah, that's the same thing at every event that we go to, industry wise. I mean, it depends on what city we're going to, really. But
and let's just be honest. If it's going to be one of those places where it could be unsafe, they're probably not going to have a show there. Let's just be honest. I mean, I don't see Detroit and Chicago seeing a lot of gun shows.
There's supposed to be a show in Atlanta next year. I'm just saying.
Well, I might not be going to that. You never know.
Yeah.
Chances are, I will have some friends that if I'm going to drive, of course I'll bring a couple different things. If I'm going to fly, I usually have someone that says, hey, what do you got that, that I have? And I could even bring a holster, hey, I'll bring my own holster. Just bring the gun and I'll holster it myself or whatever. I've done that before. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And then I saw we start a question, but I don't think we ever asked it. Was Pat's question. So if you want,
So yeah. So oops, God, I just unstarted. Pat wanted to know. I just unstarted by an accident. For carry guns, what kind of are you talking about the trigger weight? Okay. So Pat asked earlier, for carry guns, what kind of trigger weight do we suggest? For carry guns, and this is obviously not for competition or anything like that. I like that 5 pound, roughly that 5.5 pound trigger, which is kind of the almost the industry standard for carry guns, just standard. It's light enough to where you're not gonna. It's not like the old Bodyguard or LCP 12 pound 380, pull that's hideous. But it's heavy enough to where it's not going to be going off by mistake typically, right? But it's not too heavy to where it's going to affect accuracy. So I'm a big that 5 to 5.5 pound trigger. I think is there's a reason why it's the industry standard, right? There's a reason why that. But I like that. Kyle, John, jump in. Where do you guys stand for carry gun trigger weight?
I'm gonna say it before John does. Whatever the factory trigger is.
Yeah.
Whatever the factory trigger is. I'm not replacing the trigger in my carry.
I don't either.
But I'm with you. I like the 4.5 to 5.5 pound range, anywhere in between there. Usually, if you get a 5.5, it's going to wear down the 4.5.
It will.
A couple hundred rounds down range.
It will.
I guess I'm the weirdo in the group, so
okay.
I'm gonna
He's
put it this
guys
way.
In all his shit, little snob.
No, I'm gonna put it this way: the trigger weight is whatever you shoot best with, and I say it that way because let's just say you are depends on your carry gun too. I carry
depends on holster, how you're going to carry, also like what position are you carrying? Yeah, it all makes sense. Yeah.
So like often I will carry a J-frame. They are notorious for having a very heavy trigger, or I'll carry a DASA. It's one of those things where you have to get used to.
Now, if you carry, so people out there, DSA, double action, single action, are you carrying it in that holster? Or are you carrying it in the double action? Or are you cocked and locked?
I carry it in the way that it is meant to be carried from the factory, which would be if it's a DASA, hammer down.
Hammer down. Okay.
So yeah,
there's no wrong answer. I was just there's no wrong. I just was interested in how some people I will. If they have like a safety, they'll carry it in single action with the safety on. Yeah, but I do know people that do that.
It depends. So if the gun is set up with the decocker, then it's DA first shots DA. If it's like a 1911, 2011, it's cocked and locked. A high power cocked and locked. Those are how those guns are designed to be carried. So it's the same thing with the revolver. I don't carry it in that.
Do you go with that 12 pound or that 2 pound trigger pull?
Yeah. Well, and I guess I can say I probably got myself a little bit in trouble, I guess. But like my J-frames all have Apex kits in them, so they're about 6 pounds.
That's not.
So, yeah. Well, Apex is right up the road, so and I'm friends with Scott, so I brought it in and had him put in the trigger kit.
Absolutely, I'm just fucking.
I mean, it makes it fantastic. That the Apex trigger kit. If you have a J-frame and you want a little bit lighter, smoother trigger, that Apex trigger kit's way worth the look.
Yep.
Just putting that there.
Another question, real quick. Scott threw out there. Here's a question for you all. Do you carry it home? No, I don't. How do I say this? If I'm working on dry fire or if I'm doing something specific, yes. Because when I'm doing dry fire, part of the dry fire process is the draw, right? You can take as many thousands of shots dry firing that you want, but if you're never practicing your draw, then what the hell are you doing? Let's just be honest. But in general, no. There are guns, how do I put this? Staged throughout. You probably don't have to walk more than 5 to 7 paces anywhere in the house to have one ready to go. So I don't. When I first started carrying, I did, but I did that not because I felt like I needed to carry it at the house, right? I did it because I wanted to get more comfortable with having that holster on my hip or wherever you carry. I wanted to be more comfortable, but I've never felt, maybe because this is where I live, but I've never felt the need to carry while inside my house. There's an old adage that I've always used. I love handguns, love them, but I use my handgun as a tool to get to a rifle. That's just me. When I'm at home, I've got access to a lot better things that I would have access to. Now, is my carry gun very far? No, like I said, anywhere in my house, you're within 5 to 6 paces anywhere in the house of being able to find something to utilize. So I do not carry at home inside the house. Kyle, Ginger, what about you guys? Carrying inside the house? Do you do that?
Inside the house, not necessarily. I'm kind of in the same scenario you are. But as soon as I cross the threshold,
yeah,
I'm in a pretty heavy populated area either way. So,
yep, I get it. Inside the house, Ginger?
No, I'm with you. I stage everything, and I may carry a gun when I walk the dog. That's about it. But
that's not in the house,
threshold.
Though.
Right.
That's leaving the house. Absolutely. Yeah. That's leaving the house. And when I'm seeing this, when I see the question, do you carry it home? I think under the roof, inside the house. Leave the house, whole different issue. Even if it's walking the dog. We got coyotes and panthers and all sorts of shit around here. Damn straight walking the dog. I want to have something probably, but inside the house, under the roof. Yeah. Man, we're coming up to 2 hour. First of all, thank you, John and Kyle. This has been a fantastic conversation. And thank you to everybody out there in the chat. You guys were part of this fantastic conversation. Great job, great questions, great comments out there. Once again, if you're watching this in replay or listening to this in podcast form, fantastic. Thank you. Give us a rate, a share, a like, whatever you want to call it. Do all that. But we do invite you to come join us live. We record this in front of it, and I'm doing air quotes here for the people who are listening to podcasts, a live studio audience. Not really, because it's a live audience, but it's not in the studio. They're online. But you guys get the drift. We do this in front of a live audience, and it is fun. The interaction between me and the Mafia is great. I love it all the time. So come and join us live and meet some really cool people, especially if you're new to the gun world and you don't know, am I carrying when I'm smoking outside? At home? No. Once again, I don't have to go very far. I don't have anything on my hip when I'm outside on the back deck smoking. No. May have something out there, but I'm not carrying, right? Difference, right? It's a difference of carrying or having access to something there, right? It's a different thing. Anyways, come join us. Kyle, once again, thank you, brother. Great insight. And I love some of the aspects that you were talking about, the mindset and all of that. If you guys are out there and you are new to the show, Kyle is with Anderson Manufacturing, Anderson Rifles, if you will, and the Kiger handgun and all that. But everyone knows Anderson. What's going on, Anderson? I know you guys are excited about a lot of cool stuff coming down the next month or so. Obviously, the show season starts here pretty soon.
Yeah.
I know at Anderson, you guys have been busy all year, but it's getting ready to ramp up, I think.
Yeah.
What's going on at Anderson, and what can people find you guys and all that stuff?
A lot going on at Anderson. As we've talked about on all the shows before this, bringing in the new leadership and really getting back to brilliance in the basics, creating a strong foundation for us to build off of and really take it to the next level. It's been fun, but it's also been a ton of work. But we're starting to see the fruits of our labors, man, and it's awesome. The end of this month, we got Primary Arms First Responders Range Day out in Dilley, Texas. So if you're down South Texas, you're a first responder or no one, go to primaryarmsgovernment.com. Check that out. Early October, we got IV88 coming up. Mid-October, NASGW. And then I really think we're kind of clear as far as big shows go until SHOT Show.
Get ready for SHOT,
which, that prep's already in the works too.
Well, it's probably been in the works for a while now.
Yeah. So I've got a lot of rifle maintenance and all that stuff, fun stuff ahead of me. But it's all worth it, man, because I love going these range days. So, But other than that, you can find us at AndersonManufacturing.com. Use code GHOST or FLR. It might do something for you at checkout.
May or may not. We don't receive anything of it. It's just to help you out, guys.
Yep. Find us on social media at Anderson Manufacturing and at Anderson Rifles on X. Oh my gosh, am I getting one?
I'm gonna try. I'm trying to get in on this.
Wait, I don't know which.
There you go. Yeah. So
see if you guys were listening,
I'm not cool enough to be part of that.
Yeah, you just called me
Crayon Eaters. No, mine is actually not Crayon. It's actually code Ghost, and FLR is John's. Speaking of crayons, go check out the website out, grapecrayons.com.
Got some new swag in there.
That's the new swag in there. Ginger, what's going on at GOA and what's going on at Fully Loaded Reviews?
Well, GOA, we got another podcast coming up this week, I believe, with I actually don't know who the podcast is with because I can't remember the schedule. Last week was Ammo Squared, so they don't tell. I filmed so many of them in a row that they don't. They tell me, but I forget. Coming up also for FLR, we've got a bunch of reviews coming up, including the AREX, a comparison between the AREX and the Ross Martin, the GX4, the regular GX4 from Taurus, and a cool project coming up here soon. So keep an eye out for that one, the big launch. Also with GOA, if you're interested, there is a GOA branded Henry that you can get directly through Henry for $900. A portion of that goes
actually not a bad price to begin with, much less a custom rifle,
Yeah. They have it both. Well, that's for the big boy tactical 357 Magnum, or you can get one with the Golden Boy with the GOA logo lasered into the stock. Also, we have, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was told by Canic, October 2nd, the GOA Canic is going to be available on Classic Firearms, where you can get this cool exclusive GOA Canic patch. Holding on. This cool exclusive GOA Canic patch that matches the gun. And those also will be a big portion of that is going to GOA. Canic is making no money off the gun. Neither is Classic. So all of that is going to GOA. So that is a big fundraiser for us. So go get one. They're cheap and it's a good carry gun from my understanding. I'm going to buy one and shoot it myself.
I know at Goals and Men 2, which I love a Men 2.
Oh, yeah.
They had a mags there for Joe. Now, were that just for the show? Were those available online?
No, those should be available on. I don't know if they're available online right now.
But those are, they weren't just a show thing, right?
No, they're going to be making those, and that's going to be a mag of the special edition mag of the month. Let me see if they're up on their website. I don't think they're up. Yeah, they're not up yet. Or no, maybe they are. Let me just search their website because I should know this, but they haven't said anything to me. I need to talk to them anyways. But
the design is pretty badass. At least the one that I saw at Goals. I don't know if that was the finished product or that was just a rough draft thing.
That was the finished product. So those should be up here
badass.
soon. They should. I need to get with Austin, see when those are going live. But yeah, they had them at Goals. They had a handful of them that they were selling at Goals, and then they're going to sell the rest online here hopefully shortly. And we're excited for that as well. They're pretty badass. I got to help on the design of that. Big shout out to Men 2 for that. And then
great company, great mags.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cheat 23 says, when I ordered the Kiger 9, I tried Crayon Eater as a code and it didn't work. That's because it's not a code. Mine is Ghost. I'm glad you used Chris's. That's great. Whatever you got to use to save some money is great. It makes no difference to me. But if you're out there and you're on Anderson and you're looking for my code, it's just Ghost. So
I might have to make that a code, Crown Eater, just for the Crown Eaters, you know.
I mean, sure.
It actually adds to the price. They won't.
Right.
Kyle, we are filming that day, by the way. We are filming that day. So if you guys want to come out to Myrtle Beach, I can get you on the schedule.
Beach vacation, baby.
Just saying.
I ain't going to turn down Myrtle Beach. I just got to get the approval, you know?
Well, that's between you and powers to be.
Okay.
I can see what's open on the schedule. I'll have to ask them.
Yeah, I was just messing anyway, but I think that would be cool. We'll talk about it offline.
You sending the jet for Clover? Never mind. I digress. All righty then. Thank you guys, Kyle and John, for coming on. It was a great conversation. I think it was an important conversation. Not necessarily controversial topics, but topics that maybe aren't talked about enough when concealed carry is being talked about. So it was a great one. I appreciate everybody that's out there. There's still a bunch of people out there in the live chat. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for sticking around. If you lasted 2 hours and 6 minutes, then you're not getting your money or your time back. That's on you. It sucks to be you, but you're not getting your time or money back. But hopefully you've had fun. Hopefully we've entertained you a little bit, and hopefully we maybe educated you a little bit, or at least planted the seed for you to educate yourself, right? That's the whole purpose of this, is talking gun culture and talking about things that are fun and entertaining, but also hopefully, we pass a little knowledge on. Not saying that we're smarter than anybody. God knows that's not the case. But we've had some experiences. The people I usually bring in on this that are here every week have had some experiences. And if you're new to this life, then maybe you can learn something. Once again, I do encourage you, if you're watching this in replay or listening in podcast form, like, share, rate, all that good stuff. But come join us Tuesday nights at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, to the live show on the YouTube channel, and meet all the wonderful Mafia members that we have. Go check out our website, grapecrayons.com. Some cool stuff over there. All of our stuff's on that website, not just the merch store. Everything is over there, grapecrayons.com. You can also get to it through ghosttactical.us, but I did purchase the website grapecrayons.com. I think that's pretty badass. So I'm trying people to use that. Can't remember. I think that's all I got. I'm not very smart. I'm sure something will come to mind after we get off this, but it is what it is. Guys, be more proficient. Get to the range. Be more proficient with your firearms. Make sure that you're keeping up with all the locals, federal, state, 2A stuff. More importantly, enjoy your rights of being an American, one of which is to keep and bear arms. We'll see you next week. Semper Fi.